All right, so you ready to have your mind blown? Today, we're gonna take a deep dive into John Paolucci's "I'm the Original Cosmic Supreme Master" right here.
Oh yeah, I love this one.
Now, I know the title might sound a little out there,
Just a little.
but trust me, this deep dive gets to the core of who we are and the power we have to shape our reality.
And that's what's so interesting about Paolucci. He takes these really complex concepts
Hmm.
and boils them down to a surprisingly simple but mind-bending idea. Presence.
Okay, so let's unpack this presence thing. It's not like some mystical force hiding in the Himalayas. Paolucci brings it down to earth with this analogy. Imagine two objects, any two objects. How do we know they're separate?
He argues it's the unseen field, that space between them, that defines their relationship. That he says is the essence of presence, that the common denominator more fundamental than time or space.
So it's like the canvas upon which the entire universe is painted, but it's also, in a way, the paint itself.
That's a great way to put it. Think of presence like the ocean, this vast interconnected expanse. Every galaxy, every thought you have, every atom is like a wave on that ocean surface.
Okay, I'm getting some serious "we're all connected" vibes here.
Hmm.
But then Paolucci takes it a step further with this mind bender. Presence is both one thing and no thing. Now stay with me here.
Right, and this is where it gets really interesting. He's very clear that it's not just about something being big and small at the same time.
Hmm.
He argues that presence is both this indivisible, all-encompassing oneness and simultaneously infinite, boundless nothingness.
Okay, how can something be both everything and nothing at the same time? It's like saying a movie is both a single story and millions of individual frames.
That's a great analogy, because that's exactly what Paolucci is getting at. It's like the movie itself, one thing, wouldn't exist without the individual frames, no thing, and vice versa. They coexist. And just like in that analogy, presence is both the unified whole and the individual parts all at once.
All right, my brain is definitely doing some mental gymnastics here, but I think I'm starting to get it. But why is this concept of presence so important? What does it have to do with us being original, cosmic, supreme masters?
Well, this is where Paolucci really flips the script. He says that this presence, this one thing and no thing, is not separate from us. It's not out there somewhere in the cosmos. It is us, you, me. We are this infinite presence.
Okay, well, hold on. So I'm not just a wave. I am the entire ocean.
That's exactly what Paolucci's saying. It's a pretty powerful concept when you really think about it. He says we have these two aspects to our being, the absolute and the relative. The absolute you is unchanging, like the still depths of the ocean.
So that's the one thing side, right? Unchanging, eternal, the source of
You
everything.
got it. And then there's the relative you, the part of you that experiences life, that changes and grows like the waves on the ocean surface.
Okay, that makes sense. We all have that duality, that feeling of something constant within us, and yet we're also constantly changing and evolving. But where do black holes fit into all of this?
It might seem random, but Paolucci uses the example of a black hole, a point where time and space as we know it collapse, to illustrate the nature of our absolute selves.
Okay, I can see where he's going with this. It's like, even in the most extreme environments imaginable, there's still an underlying order, this fundamental presence.
Precisely. And just like a black hole isn't separate from the universe, it is the universe expressing itself in a particular way. That same presence is within us. It's not something we need to search for or attain. It's our very essence.
But wait, there's more. Paolucci doesn't just stop at these two aspects of ourselves. He takes this idea of our being multi-layered even further.
He does. He introduces this whole other idea of vibrational bodies. It suggests that we exist on multiple levels of vibration.
Right, so we're not just talking about like our physical bodies, right? We're talking about different layers of energy or something.
Exactly. And he's not the first to explore this concept.
Mm.
You know, a lot of spiritual traditions talk about auras or subtle bodies. But Paolucci really connects these vibrational bodies directly to our inherent nature as this presence.
So how does that work then? What are these vibrational bodies all about?
Well, he describes it as the spectrum. Our physical body is the most dense vibration, the most tangible thing, right? But as we move up the spectrum, we encounter subtler bodies, each with its own kind of unique qualities and functions.
So it's like this kind of energetic ladder. We're always on it, but we have the potential to climb higher and access these different levels of ourselves.
That's a great way to think about it. And at the very top of this ladder, according to Paolucci, is like the most expansive version of ourselves, what he calls the first systemic organizer.
The first systemic organizer.
Okay,
That sounds important. What does it actually do?
get ready for this one. Paolucci suggests that the first systemic organizer basically oversees the entire universe.
Whoa.
It's the ultimate expression of our true nature as this original cosmic supreme master.
Okay, now that is a lot to process. So not only are we this like infinite presence, this ocean of pure potential, but we also have these multiple vibrational bodies, and our highest self is basically like running the entire show.
It's a lot to wrap your head around for sure.
Yeah.
But remember, this is all coming from a place of empowerment. Paolucci wants us to understand just how powerful we truly are.
Okay, so let's say I buy into all of this. I am this incredible cosmic being with unlimited potential.
Hmm.
Why don't I feel like it? Why am I still stuck in traffic worrying about deadlines? If I'm the original cosmic supreme master, shouldn't I be living my best life all the time?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
And Paolucci's answer is actually kind of simple. We've simply forgotten. We've forgotten our true nature as this boundless presence.
Forgotten, so it's like cosmic amnesia or something. Did we all collectively forget to pay our cosmic bills and now our powers are on hold?
Well, Paolucci actually describes it as more like a cosmic game of hide and seek.
Okay.
Think about it. In our absolute state as pure presence, we're already complete, right? There's no room for growth, no sense of adventure, because we already are everything.
So we had to add a little spice to the mix.
Yeah, exactly. To add a little excitement to the mix, we create this game, this experience of limitation and separation.
Yeah.
We essentially pretend to forget who we truly are.
So we get so engrossed in the game, in the experience of being these individual selves, that we just temporarily forget we're the ones who created the game in the first place.
Exactly.
Okay, so far so good. I can get behind this cosmic game of hide and seek.
Yeah.
But here's the question. If we're all playing this game of forgetting, how do we remember? How do we snap out of it and reclaim our power as these original cosmic supreme masters? Is there like a reset button somewhere?
That's where things get really interesting. Paolucci provides us with a framework for tapping back into our inherent power, what he calls the command session.
Okay.
And this is where those limitations we think are holding us back actually become the key to unlocking our true potential.
A command session. Okay, that sounds kind of intimidating, but also kind of exciting. So is this like a cosmic boot camp where we learn to flex our original cosmic supreme master muscles?
You could say that, but instead of push-ups and squats, we're working with our minds. Remember those limitations we talked about?
Yeah.
The ones that make us feel stuck? Paolucci says those limitations are actually self-imposed. We're creating them without even realizing it.
Wait, so I'm not actually stuck in traffic. I'm creating the traffic jam with my mind. I mean, I've heard of like manifesting things, but this is next level.
It is a radical idea, right?
Mhm.
But think about it. Have you ever noticed how our thoughts and beliefs seem to shape our experiences?
Mhm.
Paolucci calls this our command content of attention, or CCA. It's like the operating system we're running and we're constantly feeding it commands through our thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions about how the world works.
Okay, so if I'm constantly thinking about like bills and deadlines, I'm essentially programming my reality to be full of, well, bills and deadlines. But then if I can learn to change the code, change my CCA, I can change the entire game.
That's the whole point of the command session. It's about becoming aware of our CCA, those limiting beliefs we've been carrying around, and consciously choosing to rewrite the code.
Mm.
It's like realizing you're a character in a video game who suddenly becomes aware of the controller.
So how do we actually do that? Do we need like a special cosmic controller?
Paolucci suggests setting aside dedicated time each day to connect with your absolute self, that infinite presence within. He emphasizes quieting the mind, connecting with that deep sense of peace and stillness, and from that place, consciously choosing the reality you want to experience.
So instead of focusing on what we don't want, we focus on what we do want. It's like giving our subconscious a new set of blueprints to work with.
Exactly. And the more we practice aligning our thoughts, beliefs, and actions with that vision, the more we start to see it reflected in our external reality.
Right.
It's not about denying the challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about approaching life from a place of empowerment, knowing that we have the power to shape our experiences.
This is so empowering, but it also kind of makes me think, if I'm creating my reality, does that mean I'm also responsible for all the bad stuff that happens? Like, that feels like a lot of pressure.
That's a really common concern, and Paolucci actually addresses it head on. He reminds us that we're not just playing this game alone. We're part of a much larger cosmic dance, and there are other factors at play.
So it's not about like blaming ourselves for everything that goes wrong.
Not at all. It's about recognizing that even within this seemingly chaotic and unpredictable world, there's an underlying order, a perfection to the unfolding of it all. And that brings us to this idea of informed transitional fawn flow effulgence, or ITFE.
Okay, I'm still working on pronouncing that one. But it sounds like it's about navigating life's ups and downs with a sense of grace and acceptance.
Exactly. It's about holding that bigger picture in mind, knowing that even the peanut butter moments, those times when things don't go according to plan,
Hmm.
are still part of the perfect unfolding of our journey.
So even when I'm stuck in traffic, I can choose to see it as part of this cosmic dance, a chance to practice patience and trust that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
That's the idea. It's not always easy, but it's a practice. And speaking of practice, remember that cosmic best friend we talked about earlier, your original cosmic bow, or OCB.
Oh, yeah. So how does our OCB fit into all of this?
Your OCB is like your personal guide and cheerleader throughout this entire process. Paolucci describes it as the most vibrant and personalized aspect of your absolute self, embodying infinite love, wisdom, and support. It's always there cheering you on, offering guidance and reassurance, even when you stumble.
So even when we forget we're original cosmic supreme masters, our OCB is always there to remind us.
Exactly. And the best part is, according to Paolucci, we can actually communicate with our OCB. It's about cultivating that interconnection, that dialogue with the wisest, most loving part of ourselves.
So how do we do that? Is there a special cosmic hotline? Do we need to like meditate on a specific mountaintop? I'm ready to connect.
It's actually simpler than you might think. It starts with quieting the mind, tuning into that still small voice within. It might be through meditation journaling, spending time in nature, or simply paying attention to those intuitive nudges we often ignore.
So it's about learning to listen to that inner wisdom, that voice of our intuition, and trusting that we're always guided and supported, even when life gets messy.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of Paolucci's work, even if it sounds a little out there at times. He reminds us that we're not just passive observers in this cosmic game. We are powerful creators capable of shaping our reality and living extraordinary lives.
This has been such an incredible deep dive. It's like we've been handed a cosmic instruction manual, but instead of complicated jargon, it's all about tapping into the power we already possess. It definitely gives you something to think about, right? Maybe it's time to schedule our own command sessions, connect with our inner OCB, and see what amazing realities we can create. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the mystery and wonder of your own being. You might just surprise yourself with what you discover.